In from House Judiciary, Congressman Darrell Issa. Congressman, it's great to see you. What do you make of all this? Lawmakers say this damaged millions of lives and careers.
Well, I don't think anyone has to debate the damage that the release of this virus caused in trillions of dollars and countless lives around the world. What we do have to do is specifically get to an official investigation and charges on two major counts: the perjury count before Congress and the cover-up. As you know, often the cover-up is worse than the original lie. And in this case, it appears as though he willfully impeded Congress and everyone else in getting to the truth, which probably cost even more lives. Obviously, I can also be a little partisan for a moment and say President Trump probably would have won overwhelmingly if people had really understood that he was the victim of this group. And in fact, Americans were being forced to do things, and President Trump was being misled by this very agency.
You know, the documents directly contradict Dr. Fauci's testimony as well in 2024 to the House Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus pandemic. The question is, Congress, could they refer the case to the Justice Department for a contempt charge for lying to Congress? Senator Rand Paul has already made those referrals. Watch what happened here. Watch Dr. Fauci dodge and mislead when asked if he ever funded this dangerous research before and after during the COVID pandemic. You're going to hear him talk about anthrax after 9/11. Watch this.
Taxpayer dollars would be going to someone who's a high-ranking Chinese PLA official. Yes or no?
I would have to know more about that.
Before, during, or after the COVID-19 pandemic, did you speak to the FBI, CIA, DIA, or any U.S. intelligence agency concerning viral research of any kind?
What time frame are you talking about, sir?
I said before, during, or after the COVID-19 pandemic.
I can't give you the specifics of it, but back in the time of the anthrax attacks.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your expertise in that.
Well, that's the answer.
But did you at any time talk to concerning viral research of any kind?
Again, I say that at the time that there was concern about the fact that Al-Qaeda may have been using or potentially using bioweapons, we had discussions with intelligence agencies about that possibility.
But not as related to, say, COVID-19?
Not to my knowledge about COVID.
That's what's damning. He's aggressively talking about anthrax attacks after 9/11. The congressman is clearly talking about the COVID pandemic. That's where it is really tricky. In other words, that Dr. Fauci knew what he was thinking, knew what he was saying, and he purposely was misleading, going back to the anthrax attacks when the congressman was asking about COVID. So the Constitution, by the way, does not cover Dr. Fauci's preemptive pardon by Joe Biden. It does not cover how states and local prosecutors can bring action against Dr. Fauci. We want to also point out that from the D&I files just released, this New York Academy of Medicine meeting where Peter Daszak, who's at Eco Health Alliance, he talks about his colleagues in China manipulating a spike protein on coronavirus to make it more virulent. So it seems to the analysis, and we talked to people about it, that he could face state grand juries and lawsuits. What do you think?
Absolutely. Look, he impeded the investigation and in many cases led to more people dying. Absolutely, the states and, quite frankly, Congress still have tools that should be used.
So the roadmap is here. The documents are out. We'll see what happens. We'll stay on the story. We'll have you back on, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And happy Father's Day, Congressman Darrell Issa from House Judiciary. It's good to see you.